How's going guys, welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the sinner and got harem with Raven and Starfire? Huge shout out to DarkestDepts for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Jump City. Hometown to the Titans. Through tragedy and disaster this city has stood tall and proud through its years. Always rebuilding through its many falls and improving each aspect of it. But some question the city's past. For as long as time itself no one knows how the town settlement began. Though theories have begun arising as of how the town was settled in America. Some believe they settled as a result of the New World's discovery, others believe it was the French or Germans that camped here during WW1. No one can really say, since the records of the town's construction were lost to time and all other records pertaining to its first arrival. One thing's for sure. Cities don't just appear out of nowhere. Every major city or town has its origins, even down to small towns and villages. If there are records of the city's past, it's buried somewhere where no man is supposed to find it. If someone went to all the trouble to hide the city's secrets, then there is something worth searching for. We draw our attention to the Titan's tower. The crew sleeping ever so quietly. But only one member was having trouble sleeping. Raven. Tossing and turning in her bed she tried to sleep but to no avail. For the past couple of days she has been hearing a voice calling to her. At first she thought it was her emotions, but as days progressed it was clear it wasn't. Every time she would sleep she would see a cave, a dark and old cave, echoing with the sounds of water drops. The only interesting feature about it was a red Japanese gateway that looked like the entrance to the cave. Normally when the dream ended she would hear chains rattling and pain screaming. But this night was different. During the end, the room blackened and only Raven and a man wrapped in chains were standing face to face. "Who are you? Why do you keep calling me?" asked Raven hoping to get an answer. The man was silent. His long blonde hair covering his face and slumped head with no reaction. "What do you want?" As if lightning the man flashed in front of Raven. He leaned over Raven's ear and whispered dryly. "Find me." And like that Raven jumped awake scared for the first time in ever. That was the first time Raven felt scared in her life. But at the same time she was perplexed. Who was this man in chains? Find me? She didn't even know where to begin or if she even should look for him. But then. The man looked pained, lost. Raven got up from bed and noticed it was 8 o'clock. The gang had already woken up by now. She could smell the eggs and bacon from her room and know it was Cyborg. Plus a hint of tofu for Beast Boy. After she was dressed and went into the lounge, she noticed that the others didn't look well. Like they didn't sleep last night. She needed to know. "Morning guys," said Raven. "Oh. Hi Raven." Robin groaned. "Morning friend Raven. I do hope you were well of sleep," said Starfire drinking from a mustard jar. "Not really. And I'm guessing you guys didn't either. By chance did you see a chained man with really long hair?" Silence. That was all Raven needed to know. Whatever was going on she wasn't the only one that saw him. "Why yeah. How did yo? I saw him too. Listen, I don't think this is a coincidence. Whatever contacted us wants out help with something," said Raven interrupting Beast Boy. "What do you think this dude wants?" asked Cyborg leaning over the counter. "Did he say anything to you?" said Raven turning her head toward Cyborg. "Yeah. He said find me." "Dude. He said the same thing to me bro," yelled Beast Boy now scared. "Did you notice anything strange about the setting?" she said now turning her head to Robin. "Well. I did hear the slight rumble of train tracks. And I don't know how, but I smelled sulfur and ocean water," said Robin reclaiming the event. "I say we find him. Find out for ourselves what he wants." "How? There are like tons of subway tunnels under Jump City. How are we going to find a man and all that?" said Cyborg. "Yes, but since this guy used magic I can track him. All we need to do is find the oldest tunnel in Jump City. Primarily one that is close to the bay. You guys in?" "Dude, anything to get this guy out of my head," said Beast Boy taking a bite of tofu. "Alright, let's go." And with that the gang sets out to find their mysterious man. -5 hours later. After long hours of searching the Titans were on the verge of quitting. They've searched all the tunnels around town and still haven't found anything. Everyone was heading down the meetup spot. When they all got there Raven was kinda disappointed. She felt like she was lured into a goose chase. No remnants of magic were found in the tunnels. Not even a breadcrumb. "Take 5 guys. We'll search again in a few," said Robin looking at his communicator. "You guys hear that?" said Beast Boy. "Hear what?" asked Robin alerted. I think I hear someone groaning. Thanks to Beast Boy's powers, his ears are super sensitive to light sounds. He was easily able to detect the sound with the help of the subway's echoing walls. The muffled groans were coming from a nearby wall covered in graffiti. When the others arrived, Beast Boy put his head against the wall and listened intently. "Hear anything?" asked Cyborg, getting his blaster ready just in case. "Yeah. It's faint, but someone's inside the wall." "Cyborg, before you blast the wall, try looking for a hidden switch," said Raven in a monotone voice. She didn't want old concrete dust on her cloak. "Oh, I'm sure," said Cyborg, embarrassed. As he scanned the wall, he noticed a slab with tons of handprints all over it. When he pushed the slab, a hidden door opened up leading downwards. "Clever. Whoever made this didn't want anyone finding it," said Robin, kind of impressed. "You don't think there's Nazi gold down there, do you?" asked Beast Boy, joked. "Beast Boy," said Raven. "Yeah. Shut up. Okay." As the Titans descended down the stairs, they noticed all the seals that were placed around the place. Raven knew that these seals were used to keep something in. Something of this level of sealing meant that whatever is down here was ridiculously strong to use this number of seals. When they finally reached the end of the stairs, they were greeted with a sight of 6 terracotta warriors forming a circle around a stone coffin. The coffin in question was wrapped around with the same seals as the staircase. When Raven last arrived, she saw the red Japanese gate she saw in her dream. This is the place, she thought. "What is this place?" asked Starfire, looking around amazed. "It looks like some kind of burial tomb. Judging from the statues, this is a Chinese tomb. But the writing on the wall suggests it's Japanese," said Cyborg as he was studying the writings in the walls. "Bro, I'm seriously getting a vampire vibe here," said Beast Boy, staying close to Cyborg. "BB, I assure you, va." Cyborg was interrupted when the coffin in the center of the room made a loud thud. It startled everyone, but soon the thuds were repeating. Like something was wanting out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't coffins supposed to contain dead things?" said Beast Boy as he quickly cowered behind his metal friend. "Free me." The voice. The same voice Raven had been hearing in her dreams for the past week. It was coming from the coffin. "Raven, be careful," said Robin as he readied his battle stance. As Raven approached the coffin, she could feel her legs getting weak. Every step she made towards the coffin, it felt like she was getting hit by a sledgehammer made. This thing inside the coffin must contain tremendous amounts of magic. Like godly amounts of magic. When Raven finally touched the coffin, all the magic pressure stopped. "Raven, you okay?" asked Beast Boy. "Why, yeah. Just fine," she said within short heavy breaths. "I'm going to try to open it. Be ready." The others nodded and tensed up. Raven undid the seals in the coffin and proceeded to lift the cover off. But before she could, one of the giant terracotta statues came to life and tried to attack Raven with its spear. She backed away swiftly and managed to dodge its attacks. "What the hell, dude?" screamed Beast Boy as he saw the statue come to life. "Titans, go!" yelled Robin as he charged towards the warrior. The warrior tried to stab Robin downwards, but Robin slid under the warrior and planted bombs around its feet. The explosion destroyed the warrior's feet. Robin thought he succeeded. Only until the warrior's leg pieces placed themselves back together. While that was happening, Starfire was swinging her starbolts at the warrior's back, but like its feet, the damage was quickly repaired. "These things just won't stay down," yelled Cyborg. "Raven, open that coffin. We'll cover you," ordered Robin as he occupied the warrior's attention. But sadly, the warrior saw Raven running to the coffin and threw its spear in her path. She managed to move away in time, but there was another issue at hand. As she was nearing the coffin, another terracotta warrior was reanimated. They seriously didn't want whatever's in that coffin out. This terracotta warrior was carrying a giant sword and shield. When it saw Raven, it started charging towards it, swinging its sword down. She dodged it, but knew she couldn't get through it. "Crap. I can't get to it." Starfire, fire a bolt on the coffin's cover. On it. With one fell swoop, Starfire neared the coffin and charged a bolt. Another warrior reanimated and tried to protect the coffin. This one was carrying a battle axe bigger than itself. When the bolt was charged, she threw it towards the coffin and managed to pierce through the warrior's battle axe. When the bolt hit, it caused a big explosion inside the coffin. A huge dust cloud covered the field. When the smoke cleared, the coffin's cover and whatever was inside were blown off. All of a sudden, all of the terracotta warriors were reanimated and took a battle stance around the coffin. One of the 3 warriors carried a bow, the other a great sword, and the last surprisingly nunchucks. The Titans, badly hurt, formed together. Suddenly they hear a dark laughter. It started off as a chuckle but increased moments later. From within the smoke a figure rose from within the coffin. The sound of moving chains and cracking bones followed as the figure continued to laugh. However, the laughing stopped when the spear warrior thrusted its spear at the figure. After a while the warrior didn't move until the slight sound of crackling got everyone's attention. The spear warrior had crumbled to pieces and it wasn't regenerating. The other warriors moved but they were too slow as by flash of light 3 warriors were instantly down. Crumbled like its first brother. The last 2 warriors moved to guarding the staircase. To say the least, the titans were baffled. If they couldn't stop a single terracotta warrior, then what the hell was in that coffin that could kill multiple ones? You really think that's going to stop me? Asked a figure now visible in front of the last 2 warriors. The last ones standing were the battle axe and sword and shield warriors. One of the warriors surprisingly was speaking to the figure in an unknown language that sounded old. By its dark and low tone it seemed like it was warning the figure. The man only responded with a chuckle. And within a heartbeat the battle axe warrior was turned to dust. While the last one tried to attack, the figure flashed behind the warrior and decapitated it with a swift kick to the head. Though an amazing fight for the titans, the figure just seemed bored. I really thought they would put up a better fight than that," the mysterious figure said. When the smoke cleared, his features were now visible. He was a tall athletic man with long blonde hair. There were several scars on his chest down to his back. Suffice to say he looked primal. What the hell just happened? The figure's attention was turned towards the injured party grouped together in the back of the room. When he saw Raven he smiled a bit. So she did come here. What just happened was that I just kicked some ass. By the way, what year is this? 2017. Said Raven. Ah. Looks like I'm 10,000 years late for dinner. It has been well over a week since the Titans entered the tomb underneath Jump City. Since then their mysterious man hasn't talked much. He has spent most of his time inside of the tower, never leaving to see the sun. For a man that has slumbered for 10,000 years, you'd think he would want to see the world as it was. But he didn't. Instead he spent his time reading through the tower's library. It had seemed that he was trying to catch up on the world's history. While some events were marvelous or even revolutionary, he was pained by the amount of blood that had been spilled. Centuries of war, hate, violence, and blood. He felt as though he could have avoided these actions if he were not sealed into that accursed tome. But then he remembered something a friend told him. You cannot save everyone. No words were ever wiser or true. Though he wished he could, it was next to impossible even for a god. While our mysterious man was reading, he noticed someone was watching him through the door. A certain black-haired sorcerer. It seemed that this raven-haired girl was intrigued by our mysterious man. Though for what reason he will probably never know. A smirk grew on his face as he came up with an idea. With but a simple thought, he teleported behind Raven and grabbed her shoulder. Can I help you with something? Asked the man with a foxy grin. Ai? Raven screamed by the sudden surprise. Damn, you got a set of lungs on you. Don't ever do that again, she yelled, revealing her blood-red eyes. What? Fucking popping up behind me? You almost gave me a heart attack, she said, clutching her chest. I thought you were the emotionless one. I didn't expect you to be surprised. Beast Boy said I was emotionless, didn't he? She said, knowing who would say that. If you mean the skinny short green man that tried to prank me as if I was an amateur, then yeah, he did. He said comically. He tried to prank you? She said with are you serious face. Yeah. He tried to throw a pie of whipped cream at me when he thought I wasn't looking. I merely caught the pie and threw it back at him. Suffice to say he had it coming. Trust me, he's had it coming for a long time. The two started laughing, which cleared the air a bit. It was nice. No tension, no stress, no awkwardness, just two people having a good laugh. But that soon stopped when Raven began to look at the stranger's scars more closely. When she did, she noticed that most of those scars were around the more fatal areas. Meaning that if someone struck at that spot, it would have been a guaranteed kill. Well, that was where the scars were concentrated around. For instance, she noted a giant vertical line on his bex, as if someone swung a sword at him and managed to make a mark. There was also the same mark, but it was horizontal and in the middle of his body, crossing over his vertical scar. If you stand back far enough, you would see that his chest looked like the Christian cross. Another scar was the many spear jabs centered around where his stomach might have been. You know it's rude to stare, said the mystery man with a foxy grin. Sorry. Raven blushed for a bit, not knowing that she was staring too long. Hey, it's no big deal, everyone gets curious. By the way, I never got my savior's name. It's Raven." She blushed a little while looking at him. "Raven? I imagine you picked the name after Edgar Allan Poe's poem." "Actually, I came up with it myself. It's a long story." "Enough said, I don't want to pry any more than necessary." "Thank you. What's your name? We didn't get the chance back at the tome." Yes. Then allow me to introduce myself," he said as he began bowing to Raven. "The name is Naruto Uzumaki. A pleasure." "Naruto? An odd name," she said while grinning. Before Naruto could reply, however, the Titan's alert system was blaring throughout the tower. The rest of the Titans rushed to the living room. Robin activated the main screen and it showed the Hive group currently robbing a bank with hostages in the background. Cops on their way, but the Titans knew they wouldn't make it in time. "Alright Titans, you know what to do. Titans go," Robin said as the team rushed to the scene. While Robin and Cyborg were getting their rides, the Flyers were making their way to the top of the roof. Behind the Flyers, the now named Naruto was following them up to the roof. Beast Boy saw him and thought the guy was either confused or just plain stupid. Dude, where do you think you're going?" "I'm going to assist my savior." "There a problem?" Naruto said while glaring at the green child. He was really starting to get on his nerves. "Yeah, actually. Unless you got wings or magic, then you're not going to be of much help to your savior," he said while emphasizing with his fingers. "Just wait till we get to the roof, Greenie." "Who you calling Greenie?" "Boys. Roof now," yelled Raven. "Yes, savior." "Yes, ma'am." When the Flyers got to the roof, they were all looking at Naruto wondering if he was going to fly or not. Honestly, since the tome they didn't know if he had any other abilities. While they were looking, Naruto had gotten down on one knee and both his hands on the ground. What happened next was really freaky to the group. Within a second, Naruto's back sprouted bones that spread into wings, and muscle and feathers soon crawled upwards covering the bones of the wings. Some would say that what they witnessed was an angel spreading its wings. Others a scientific miracle. When Naruto stood up, he revealed a pair of white angel wings. To say the least, the group was simply awestruck. "Ready to go?" he said. "Why yes, ready we are," said Starfire blushing from the scene. "Then let's roll." In a flash, Naruto was gone and flew to the city. Along behind him the others followed. "Naruto, you truly are a wonder, aren't you?" thought Raven. At the crime scene. "Come on Gizmo. The Titans are almost here," yelled Jinx as she looking outside the bank. "Keep your panties on, Jinx, I'm almost done," said Gizmo as he was hacking into the vault. Mammoth was watching the hostages, occasionally scaring them to keep them on edge. When Jinx looked outside one more time, she noticed a muscular blonde landing in front of the bank. Gracefully, I might add. Something told her that trouble was heading their way. "Sorry handsome, but I'm going to have to ask you to turn the other way," said Jinx as she aimed her purple sparking hand towards him. But instead of doing what she said, Naruto was instead laughing. Hey. What are laughing at? It's just you think you can actually stop me? Please, I highly advise against it," he said with his foxy grin. After that he started walking towards the entrance. "I warned you," she said as she fired a shot at Naruto. The shot went straight through his chest, leaving a giant hole. But then the hole started regenerating. As if the damage was never there. This really started to scare her. Because of it, she fired random shots, all hitting Naruto, but none of the damage stayed. By this point she was terrified. "Why won't you die?" yelled Jinx as Naruto was coming closer. And when he was close to her face, he whispered something that made her realize they're totally fucked. "Because I am God." Jinx for the first time in her life has truly felt fear. Shots of her power at close range would have killed most people, if not everyone. But this man. This blonde somebody took 10 lethal shots to the body and stands there grinning like a madman that's about to revive his monster. She watched as his ocean blue pupils changed to a blood-red crimson color. Her legs were shaking with such pure fear that she couldn't stand anymore. Just looking into those crimson eyes made it hard to breathe. Whatever this man was, he was a force to be reckoned with. It was then that she remembered what he had said. "I am God." Normally such a statement would have been scoffed at, but this man had power to back it up. Someone who couldn't die and was faster than light was someone Jinx preferred not to piss off. She gulped at the realization that if she were to go full force with this man, it would be her life lost instead of his. Because of the fear, Jinx did the only thing she thought was best for survival. She ran. She ran out the door at such speeds that only in life or death situations could she obtain such motion. The moment Jinx ran out the door, Mammoth noticed this and the blonde stranger at the front door. He looked towards the hostages one more time before moving towards the bank's entrance. If there was one thing that he knew about Jinx, it was that she would never run unless she couldn't handle the situation. I guess being the top of the class isn't everything, he thought. When Mammoth approached the front looking at the blonde stranger below him, he started to notice something strange with him. The air around him was densely thick with a heavy atmosphere near him. An atmosphere of confidence. "Who the hell are you and what did you do with Jinx?" Mammoth questioned with a voice of authority. "Me? Sorry, but you haven't earned the right to know who I am. As for your friend, I made her run with her tail between her legs." "Ah. As if someone so pathetic could scare off Jinx. I suggest you back the fuck off before you get hurt," said Mammoth, releasing a small bit of killing intent to try and scare the blonde off. But sadly, it didn't work as he heard the blonde chuckle a little. "I'm pathetic? That's funny, because what's pathetic is you think you're going to get away with this. I mean a giant hammerhead and a toddler robbing a bank, laughing, it's really pathetic," Naruto said, gaining a tick mark from Mammoth and a growl. "Do you have a death wish, kid?" said Mammoth, getting in Naruto's face. "Maybe. Maybe not. You'll never know the answer." As soon as he said that, Mammoth smashed his right fist into the blonde with full force, leaving a dust cloud and crater in his wake. Mammoth smirked, thinking he finished him off, but was soon wiped off when he noticed that the blonde was still standing and holding Mammoth's fist with one hand. He thought he missed, so Mammoth used his other to try and get a punch to his center. Again, the blonde blocked it with one hand. At this point it was a contest of strength. Mammoth started pushing against the blonde, trying to gain an edge, but sadly found that the blonde didn't move an inch. With a smirk on his face, Naruto began pushing as well. The difference was that Naruto was pushing Mammoth back, making him move. Mammoth couldn't hold against this blonde's strength and was thrown across the room, crashing against several buildings in his path. "Hey. Keep it down, Mammoth. This is fragile work in progress," said Gizmo as he stopped his progress with a vault to yell at Mammoth, but found he wasn't there. Instead was a blonde stranger freeing the hostages and a mammoth-sized hole in the wall. He put two and two together, knew what had happened. Gizmo entered stealth mode and snuck right behind the blonde. He then used one of his tentacles and pierced the blonde's heart. Just as he thought he had won, the blonde in front of him disappeared in a poof of smoke and was replaced with a log. Realizing his failure, he turned behind him too late and saw Naruto grabbing his backpack and ripping it off of him. Gizmo fell to the ground and watched in horror as Naruto crumbled his pack with nothing but his bare hands, reducing it to a metal ball. It was then that the rest of the Titans arrived and found Naruto with Gizmo in front of him, crying over a crumbled up ball. They then looked towards the giant hole and saw Mammoth walk through the hole and looked towards Naruto with a death glare. Naruto looked back and flipped him the bird. Finally losing his cool, he charged towards Naruto with his fist raised. The Titans were about to help when Naruto took a stance and collided his fist with Mammoth's, creating a shockwave that sent the team tumbling backwards. At first there was silence. Then a blood-curdling scream filled the room. Raven thought it was Naruto, but quickly realized it was Mammoth holding a bloodied stump of what used to be his arm. Turns out when Naruto collided his fist Mammoth, it practically destroyed his arm. When the team saw this, they were both horrified and shocked. Mammoth was the strongest person in Hive. Having his arm ripped apart by Naruto was a clear indication that he had more power than they thought. First the wings and now this, it was clear that something was going on. When Beast Boy saw the bleeding stump, he lost his lunch. Robin on the other hand rushed towards Naruto and glared at him at eye level. "What the hell was that?" yelled Robin, clearly angry with Naruto. "What do you mean? I did your job for you, you're welcome," he said, looking at Robin as if he grew a second head. "We don't blow people's arms off." "Blow his arm off? Oh wait, hang on." Naruto got into a meditative stance and with a flux of chakra, he dispelled his genjutsu and revealed Mammoth hold his arm in one piece but still screaming as if it were dismembered. Robin, dumbfounded, looked towards Naruto for answers. "It's called genjutsu. It creates an illusion in the enemy's mind. I just created the illusion of pain in this guy's arm. He's perfectly fine, it will wear off in an hour or so," he said, looking towards Raven with a wink. Raven blushed and flew off towards the Titan's tower with everyone following suit. Dark secrets. Never in his life had Robin been so frustrated with someone other than Beast Boy. Whenever Bruce and him hunted someone down, the first thing he learned was to get as much info on the suspect as possible before engaging the target. However, this step had proved to be more difficult than anticipated. Any information he tried to find on Naruto either proved to be non-existent or false. It was starting to seem like a goose chase to Robin. No matter how hard he tried to gain information about him, Robin couldn't get anything solid on the guy. The only references that he had gathered were at the tomb where he found Naruto. Only the problem was that someone destroyed the tomb after they left. Who he had no clue, but he was going to find out sooner or later. At the moment Robin was going through some of the footage from the robbery involving the Hive members. Thank goodness there were traffic cams nearby, otherwise he wouldn't believe what he was seeing. Mammoth's punches alone were powerful enough to KO anyone of his team with a single punch. But somehow Naruto had blocked the punch with only his finger. A fucking finger. The only people he knew that were that powerful were Superman or Cage. Another subject that perplexed him was what Naruto said, something about having a death wish. At first he thought he was being coy with Mammoth, but a second glance he noticed that Naruto wasn't. He genuinely had some sort of wish, of what he had no idea. But he will have to find out later. At this moment a knock on the door was heard. "Who is it?" said Robin. "It's me. I brought dinner, hope you like grilled T-bone with mashed potatoes." Robin recognized the voice as Cyborg's. "Come in." As the door had opened, the smell of freshly cooked meat entered through the room. It was nice that someone on his team how to cook. Sometimes it reminded him of his family before the accident. How long ago that was now he couldn't remember. But he missed those moments dearly. As Cyborg approached near him he noticed all the papers about Naruto lying around the place. Honestly he was worried he was becoming another Beast Boy with this amount of mess. As he put the plate near Robin he put a hand on his shoulder. "You okay, man? We haven't seen you leave the room since the Hive robbery. Everyone is getting worried." "I'm fine. I'm just frustrated is all." "Frustrated? With what, Naruto? He hasn't done anything since we found him. What's there to be frustrated about?" "I'm frustrated because I can't seem to find any info on him. Ever since we left that tomb I have been trying to find any amount of information I could on him. But every time I think him close I draw a blank. It's like I'm a mouse in a maze trying to find the cheese. It's like he doesn't exist. There's no record of him. Why not just ask him about his past? Snooping around isn't the only way to get info. Besides I'm sure he'll be open about it." "I don't think so, A man like him won't just tell us about something so personal. Even the most nicest person can have secrets to hide." "Really? You think him a nice person?" said Naruto, who popped up behind the two. "Yeah." Both screamed. "Damn. Even you two got a set of lungs on you," said Naruto as he was picking his ear. "How much of that did you hear?" said Robin, finally calming down. "All of it. Honestly you guys really should keep your doors closed. It's no wonder that Hive managed to invade this tower. But in any case Cyborg is right, if you truly want to know about me just ask. All the records that they kept on me were burned away when I was sealed. So there's really no use trying to dig around ashes. If you're so open about your life then let me ask you this. Why were you sealed within that tomb?" said Robin, now leaning forward. "Oh, that's easy. I was sealed because I fucked the king's daughter." "What? Did I stutter?" "I am sorry but you were sealed. Because you had sex with someone's daughter?" "Yep. I am going to leave now, enjoy your dinner," said Cyborg as he was leaving. Nice kid. Reminds me a lot of someone that I used to know." "Hut the bullshit. What's the real reason?" "Smart one huh? Well the first reason was because I had a demon living inside of me. Second was because I fucked the king's daughter and third was because during my time under the king's rule I single-handedly killed armies by myself. I guess they thought I was too powerful for them to let loose in the world. They thought it would be better for everyone if I never existed. But they were wrong." "How so?" "Because after they sealed me the enemy armies invaded and took the kingdom. Turns out that they needed me and I wasn't there to protect them." "I'm sorry. I didn't know." "It's fine, you know now." At this point Naruto turns around, leaves the room while Robin was staring at the floor. Almost imagining the events as the door closed and darkness sank back in. To say that things in the tower were tense was an understatement. Well, tense between Robin and Naruto really. After finding out about Naruto's past, Robin didn't really know what to say to him after that. He wanted to know more but thought it would be better to ask at a better time. After all, recalling something like that would have put anyone in a depressed mood. But somehow Naruto was able to mask his sorrow. Much like him, Robin could see that he was hiding the pain and heartache of what happened. He was doing a pretty good job of it too, but for someone like Robin it was easy to see. For someone who also lost a loved one, I guess you could say that similar minds think alike. When Robin lost his parents during the so-called accident, he tried to mask his pain by putting it in his training with Bruce. But even someone like Bruce could see it too. It's never easy to forget about a loved one, more so when you feel like you could have done something about it. That's why Bruce told him this. Robin, it's okay to cry. To shed tears for loved ones is never a weakness. But holding it back will only make it rain another day. Until finally you are consumed with grief. So cry, Robin. Let it out. That day Robin hadn't cried so hard in his life. It was like a dam releasing a river. All the grief and sadness just washed over. But looking at Naruto now, it seemed to Robin that history was beginning to repeat itself. He was holding back all his grief and sadness. But sooner or later he would need to let it out. And Robin was more than willing to give him a shoulder to cry on. As he was thinking this, Naruto was the one cooking breakfast for a change. After learning that food had changed over the years, he wanted to give it a shot at some cooking. What he was making no one knew. Whenever someone asked, he always replied, "It's a surprise." Some found the wait to be thrilling, while others, Beast Boy, didn't have the patience. And so after a while Naruto called everyone in to eat. What they found was, well, they didn't know what they were looking at. At the kitchen counter sat 7 bowls of what appeared to be noodles with some veggies and meat, basically ramen. He made ramen for breakfast. But this ramen was different looking than what the team was used to seeing. At first glance it looked like miso ramen, but something about it seemed different. The broth was a different shade of golden brown, the meat was cooked with light seasoning, the veggies appeared to have been steam boiled, and the noodles had a lighter color to them. Basically they're looking at a home-cooked ramen instead of instant. What is this?" asked Beast Boy. His dish contained mostly veggies and noodles. "Huh? It's ramen, duh," said Naruto. "What is this ramen? I have never heard of this before," said Starfire, looking at it like it was an alien. "Yeah, I know, shut up. Are you seriously telling me that this world doesn't know what ramen is?" said Naruto in a serious tone. If he was living in a world where ramen doesn't exist, he was gonna throw a fit. "Well, no. To be honest, this is the first time I've ever seen something like this," said Cyborg, who was poking at his dish like something was gonna jump out. "I've read about this while looking through my library. At the time this dish was probably the most famous in its time due to its easy recipe and taste. However, the recipe was lost to time long ago, and no one was able to recreate the stuff well until now. That it," said Raven as she was eyeing the dish hungrily. To her it really seemed good. "Naruto? Are you the okay friend?" said Starfire. "Please excuse me for a second." As he said this, Naruto walked out to the balcony. After a few seconds nothing was heard, that was until the earth shook with a resounding scream. Apparently Naruto was happy about the fact that literally no one knew what the dish of the gods were. Well, in his eyes, it was a god's dish. This is what he was screaming. "Damn you, you old fart." Who he was referring to no one knew. Nor would they ask, but they had a feeling. What was that about?" said Beast Boy. "I think he knows who got rid of the recipe. And he's not happy about it," said Raven, happily chowing down on her ramen. She had to admit, Naruto was one hell of a cook. Simple yet delicious. When the others saw Raven eating, they decided to give it a try. After all, if Raven can stomach it, it couldn't be that bad despite its weird appearance. And once everyone took a bite, they felt like the world had shifted into food heaven. Their taste buds felt like they had been graced by God and been given entrance into food paradise. The sweet yet sour flavor of the broth combined with the enriching meat and veggies made this dish feel like it was a godsend. When Naruto returned from his little tantrum, he noticed the looks on everyone's faces, except Raven, cause she's stoic, and his foxy signature grin was creeping on his face. He felt proud that his favorite food was shared among friends. It wasn't until Starfire said something that made him realize something. "Friend Naruto, are you the okay? Your eyes are leaking." As she said this, everyone turned from their food paradise to look at Naruto. Lo and behold, Naruto was shedding tears. Somewhere in his mind this experience reminded him of something long ago. Something that was precious to him. "I'm fine. This just made me remember something long ago," he said as he was wiping his tears away. "What did you remember?" asked Raven, intrigued by this. "Well, you see. Believe it or not, I was once a father. Boruto, stubborn and prideful just like me. I swear sometimes I saw my younger self in him. He was rash and wanted attention just like I did. But behind all that, his soul was that of a kind and endearing man. Himawari, shy like her mother and gentle as ever. She would bring home so many pets, and she would always tell me that they followed her home. Yet behind all that shyness lied a resourceful woman. Someone that wasn't afraid to take a challenge. Both of them were my diamonds among the coal. I was so proud when they graduated from the academy that I made them some ramen as a gift. The second that they started eating, well, they had the same faces of joy and bliss among them. So I guess seeing you guys enjoy my cooking made me think of them. I miss them dearly. I truly do." Now if that wasn't heavy shit, no one knew what was. In a way, everyone was honored that they were about to enjoy his cooking. It reminded him of his family. And to him the Titans were his new family. Naruto I. Just as Raven was about to say something, a loud explosion shook the Titan's tower. The alarms were going off in frantic panic. The living room screen lit up to show the front door was ripped open and that the door had a large hand imprint, almost as if it was grabbed and yanked out like a curtain. When Robin saw this, he went to the console and tried to get a look at their invader, but it was as if the person in question was both fast and strong. Whenever the motion sensors detected movement, the invader seemed to be too fast for the camera to spot them. Whoever this invader was, he was coming in fast. The sensor pointed to the Titans that the invader was headed for the main living room. Cyborg got his cannon arm ready and aimed it right for the door. Beast Boy turned into a gorilla and beside him was Raven preparing her magic. Starfire started flying and Naruto sprouted his wings and got into a defensive position. Robin was frantically typing on the console to try and slow the invader down with the tower's security measures. But it was no use since they were either destroyed or dodged. At this point the sensor pointed that the invader was at the door to the living room. "Titans. Get ready. We have company," said Robin as he got his bow staff ready. "Finally someone had the balls to come at us directly. I was honestly starting to think that bad guys had softened over the years," said Naruto as he got his signature Rasengan ready. Raven was curious about that technique but would have to ask about it later. In less than a second the door was blown off its hinges, revealing smoke in the doorway. But stepped forward the Titans were not prepared for. From the smoke was none other than Superman. The red-caped hero of Metropolis. "Wah? Superman? What are you doing here?" said Beast Boy as he transformed back. But that question wasn't answered as Superman flew straight for Naruto. The impact of the tackle broke the tower's glass, and next thing that they knew, Naruto and Superman were at the beach next to the tower. The Titans rushed outside to try and break the fight apart, but the shockwaves of both opponents' punches were making it difficult. Naruto was meeting Superman's punches fist to fist. The speed and power behind them was awe-inspiring, the pace at which they were trading blows was almost unbelievable. When a punch was headed for Naruto's head, his unreal flexibility made him bend backwards. But just before he got back up, Naruto grabbed Superman's fist and pulled him forward, giving him an advantage as he swung his fist right at Superman's temple. The power behind that punch threw Superman to the other side of the city, leaving behind him a comet's trail. All the while Naruto actually seemed to be enjoying himself. He started to laugh. "Finally. Someone on this planet actually can throw a punch. I might not understand your reasoning behind attacking me, Boy Wonder, but damn, I needed that. You might actually prove to be a challenge. Let's rock, Superman." Just as he said this, Naruto took off in an unbelievable speed. At first glance it looked like he was going just as fast as the Flash. But in reality he was going so much faster than that. Just as soon as Superman was emerging from the crater, Naruto came in and launched a gut punch which propelled Superman to the sky. Everyone who was witnessing this was either thinking that they were dreaming or maybe had too much coffee. It seemed like every punch was clearing the skies of clouds. This fight was unlike anything they had ever seen. Just as Superman was propelled up, he began focusing his lasers and aimed them at Naruto. While Naruto noticed this, he threw up a kunai with a little present inside. When Superman was close to releasing his lasers, he saw the kunai and grabbed it. Little did he know that the kunai was actually a flash grenade. The explosion and blinding light caused him to miss, and the laser headed for a mountain range. Soon after, one of the two mountains was now gone in a massive explosion. Trying to recover, Superman did the only thing he could think of, he flew upwards. Soon after, Naruto followed suit. Superman only reached the 4th layer before he was bitch slapped off course. Yes, I said bitch slapped. The resounding echo of the slap was heard even from the surface. To sum it up, damn, that had to hurt. Hahaha, you know, Boy Wonder. You're the first person that I met since coming here that has given me a decent punch. My blood boils for more. You think this is a game? I'm here to return you to your cage, demon. Really? And what makes you think you have the power to do that? Because the way that I see it, you're getting your ass handed to you by yours truly. And frankly, I'm not going back," said Naruto as he was grinning sadistically, just begging for the fight to continue. "Because I have something that you don't, demon. I have friends." As he said this, Naruto narrowly dodged a sword strike from Wonder Woman, trying to cleave his head off. In one swift movement, Naruto grabbed her sword and shattered it within his grip, followed with a spinning high kick to the temple. She reeled from the blow and was caught by Martian Manhunter. As soon as Wonder Woman was back on her feet, Manhunter turned into a giant viper and tried to squeeze Naruto. Unfortunately, he was unsuccessful as Naruto quickly hit the pressure points of Manhunter's body to stop his attack. Just then a green cage entrapped him. Looking to the source, it was the Green Lantern. "I got him." Quickly, Ada said Green Lantern, but was quickly cut off as Naruto just punched the bars open. "Really? You think cage will stop me? Been there, done that. Not going to work. Anyways, why are you all fighting me to begin with? I haven't done anything wrong since I got out," said Naruto as he was now relaxed enough to know he had this. "You were sealed for a reason, demon. The gods told me of what you did. The crimes you committed, the blood that you shed, and all the countless bodies. You are a monster that needs to be caged," said Wonder Woman as she pulled out her lasso with her left and her shield with her right. Suddenly the area grew dark and cold. The tension in the air was making the Justice League hard to breathe. The source was Naruto. He revealed an aura of pure, unadulterated anger. His eyes were now slits, his claws extended, and his teeth sharpened. In short, he was pissed. "You think I wanted to do all that? You think I had a choice in the matter? Well, I didn't. You think you know everything that happened back then, but you don't. Your gods lie to you, Diana. Just like they lie to everyone. They lie. They cheat. And they steal from the innocent. I was a good king. But your gods killed my family. So don't think for a second that your gods are just. They wanted war. That's a lie. You're lying. Look me in my eyes, hook me with that lasso of truth, they'll both tell you the same thing. Your gods killed my family. So in return I killed all their worshippers, all their temples burned, and anything that gave them power I destroyed. Because of one simple fact, hell hath known no fury, like a father's scorn." To say that the Justice League got their asses handed to them was the understatement of the century. It didn't matter what strategy they tried or what amount of force was applied. Naruto was above their league, pun intended. Superman of all people was having a hard time with just keeping up with him. Every punch that he made only seemed to annoy the godlike being. But when Naruto punched, it took everything Superman had to minimize the damage. He was close to his arm breaking were it not for Superman's quick thinking. The others weren't even putting a dent in Naruto. Wonder Woman got her sword broken and was currently hog-tied with her own lasso. The Martian was just currently floating around unconscious with multiple bruises on his body. The Green Lantern didn't fare any better. Naruto somehow destroyed his ring. He didn't think it was possible, but the tiny green shards floating around his unconscious body didn't lie. The only one left standing was Superman. And he was on his last legs. "Is that really all you got, Boy Wonder? Honestly, now I'm just disappointed. They call you the strongest being here. I'm starting to think they were nothing but false rumors," said Naruto as standing there nonchalantly looking incredibly bored. This only angered the Kryptonian. Nothing he did was actually making a did, even when he wasn't holding back it didn't do anything. This wasn't looking good. "You? Huff. Will return, Huff. To your cage. And face. Huff justice. Justice? Justice for what? Crimes that I may or may not have committed thousands of years ago. A little too late for that, don't you think? But this was entertaining. You proved that out of your little posse that you can take a hit. Unlike the rest. Now I ask that you just leave me alone, Superman. I'm not doing anything evil, I haven't even done anything since I got out," said Naruto as he was starting to float back towards the tower, leaving Superman to his comrades. "Not yet. But when you slip, we will be back stronger," he said, glaring at Naruto as he was moving further away. "I would hope so. I expect a bigger challenge the next time we face each other." Titan Tower. "Man. Superman really did a number to the tower, huh?" said Beast Boy as he was helping clean the debris from the wreckage. Currently the tower was a complete clusterfuck. All the windows were shattered, the security turrets were either ripped off or blown to bits, the front door was ripped off, and the left side of the tower was completely toppled over and in the ocean. To say the Titans were unhappy about the mess was like saying Batman can laugh. So not really happy. "Well, he is a walking wrecking ball, what did you expect?" commented Cyborg as he was facing an electrical panel at the side of the tower. "Yeah, but he's the Man of Steel. Not a fucking Miley Cyrus song. He's like supposed to keep damage to a minimum, right? Why would he go all out?" "Because he was after Naruto." Everyone turned towards Raven, a look of thought in her eyes. "Why is that, friend Raven? Naruto has been nothing but nice to us. Why would this super of man attack him?" said Starfire, floating towards her. "Because someone ratted me out, that's why." Suddenly they saw Naruto with his wings fly down towards the island. Raven and Starfire were glad he was safe, but soon tensed when he said that. Everyone but Robin was confused, he knew all too well why this happened. He was snapped out of his thoughts when Naruto was walking towards him. Glaring with not hate, but disappointment. "Isn't that right, Robin?" he said, folding his arms. I didn't know this was going to happen," said Robin as he looked down in shame. "What are you talking about?" said Cyborg. Robin told his mentor Batman about my arrival from the tomb. When everything was learned about my past, they decided I was a threat. And thus proceeded to eliminate the threat before it grew. "Robin, is this true?" asked Starfire, who was hovering over the crowd. But the look in Robin's eyes told them everything. "I just thought he was gonna send them here for questioning. I didn't think they would attack him out of the blue. I'm sorry, Naruto, I didn't know." "It's okay, Robin, you were just doing your job. I can't blame you for reporting me to him. I probably would have done the same if it was a different person," said Naruto as he patted Robin's shoulder. Guys, you're gonna want to see this." Everyone turned towards Beast Boy as he was looking towards the city. When they followed their eyes, they saw a pillar of light. And I was coming from a certain spot. "Hey, isn't that where your tomb is, Naruto?" asked Cyborg, but noticed that Naruto was gone and speeding his way towards the pillar of light. "Ah, damn it. Titans follow him," yelled Robin as he made his way to his motorbike. Tomb of Naruto. Violent tremors combined with a pillar of light wasn't a good sign in Naruto's perspective. He should have realized that those bastards would have put more than one safety measure if he escaped. It was their style, lock it up so deep that no one or anything will breach the seals. But they weren't counting on the Titans to intervene in his prison sentence. He shows them. Speeding his way through the old subway tunnels, he made his way to the hidden entrance to the tomb. But as he made his way down the spiraling staircase, he noticed that all the seal tags were glowing. The only reason that they would do that was if they were holding something back. He needed to investigate further. When Naruto passed through the red Torii gate, had to look up what they were called, but basically they're those old red gates you would see in an anime. He noticed that the remnants of the terracotta statues were gone. All the broken and dusty bits were gone. Something was definitely going on here. Giant rubble just doesn't up and disappear. His attention was soon drawn over to the glowing seams under his coffin. It was as if light was shining brightly enough to shine through the cracks. As a precaution, he got into a defensive position as he walked closer to his old coffin. But before he could lift his coffin, out of nowhere the entire place was shaking. The walls were rumbling, the floor was shaking, and the light was shining brighter under the coffin. Then suddenly the coffin burst from its holdings and the entire room was engulfed in its elegance. Naruto had to cover his eyes just to avoid being blinded. But when the light died down, what he saw he wasn't prepared for. "Hello, Naruto. It's been a while," said a lone figure who stood with beauty beyond that of any being. Standing there was none other than his wife. Hinata. Naruto couldn't believe it. Out of all the people that those bastards could have chosen, it had to be Hinata. The one person who meant the world to him. The one person that truly understood him. The mother to his children, standing in front of him. Naruto clenched his fists hard enough that blood had started leaking through. The gods could have chosen anyone from his past life. Instead they resorted to this. Using his love against him. And here he thought the gods couldn't get more cowardly. And what's worse, she was wearing her wedding dress. The same dress that she wore long ago during their wedding. A silk woven kimono with hints of lavender-colored petals etched into the dress. Patterns of flowers climbing from the bottom. She was so beautiful in that dress that Naruto had almost thought she was a goddess when he first saw her. And it had him even more angry. When this was over, he would have to pay the gods a visit. "Hello, Naruto, I missed you," said Hinata, climbing out of the coffin. "I did too, Hinata. But why are you here? I thought you were buried with the kids." Hinata had died along with his children when the gods invaded his lands. A certain god of the sun had burned their home to the ground. Trapping them inside. He tried desperately to get them out, but the roof had collapsed. Immediately killing them. Naruto had gathered their ashes and buried them on a hillside on the coast of his kingdom. It was Hinata's favorite spot to go to calm her mind. She loved the sight of the ocean lapsing along with the sunset. It had calmed him too. But I was put here as a safeguard for, well, you. She walked closer to Naruto, but he stepped back the closer she got. "Let me guess. You're here to put me back, aren't you?" he said with his eyes slowly changing to his crimson red color. "I'm sorry, Naruto. I don't wish to hurt you, but they'll torture our children if I don't." From beneath her sleeves 2 kusarigama were pulled out. The little ninja sickles with chains on them. "I understand, Hinata. Do your best." With lightning fast speed, Hinata was in front of Naruto, bringing one of her kusarigama downward. But Naruto raised his forearm to block it, but quickly noticed the other kusarigama was coming from behind him. Kind of like the god of war chains. He quickly ducked down and raised his forearms to block the incoming kusarigama. Hinata almost thought his arm was going to fly off, but noticed the skin on his arms darkened. Think of Greed's ultimate shield from FMAB. Using her shock to his advantage, Naruto swept his feet under her to try and trip her. Hinata rolled on top of him to avoid his feet and tried to strike behind him once again. Striking his back, it seemed Hinata had made first blood, but after a few seconds his form dissipated and revealed a wood log in place. She quickly turned around to see 3 Narutos running towards her with Rasengans in their hands. Hinata threw a couple of kunai and managed to hit 2 of the clones, but the last one managed to get close and shoved the Rasengan into her abdomen. The explosive force sent her to the opposite side of the room, crashing against the wall. Leaving a big hole in place. You've gotten better, Hinata. I'm guessing those bastards enhanced your abilities. Hoping it would at least be a challenge for me. Said Naruto as he was cracking his knuckles. Hinata was always a good fighter to begin with, part of the reason why he married her. While she may look timid and shy, she was no stranger to shedding blood. Life in their village required them to be the best warriors that they can. At a young age it was mandatory for children at 10 to start training to become a part of their kingdom's military. Because back then all the world had ever known was war. War was the only means of survival in that time. But Hinata. She was one of the only people who didn't want to fight. Amongst the many people in Naruto's life, Hinata was the only one who would try to avoid a fight. She was just like that. It didn't matter who or what the conflict would be about, she would try her best to turn it around with her smile. A kind, gentle smile. That's what Naruto loved about her. But this fight she was forced to do, to save her children from eternal torment. It killed her on the inside. That's what made this fight hard for Naruto. He knew that Hinata was suffering because of the arrogance of the gods. When this was over, he was going to have a serious conversation with them. And by conversation he meant beat the living shit of them for making one of his loved ones suffer. But for now he had to end this quickly. For her sake. Naruto. His eyes widened. He turned his eyes from Hinata to behind him. Standing right behind him were the Titans. Raven and Starfire were at the front of the group while the boys were just coming down the flight of stairs. Raven was the one who spoke, staring directly at Naruto. Starfire looked over towards Hinata and she frowned a little. She didn't know a lot of English, but that didn't make her a fool. She could put 2 and 2 together. And right now she figured who she was to Naruto. She was his wife, and judging by the looks of the area around them, they were fighting. Naruto? The hell's going on, man? Asked Cyborg as he aimed his cannon towards Hinata. But before he knew it, a kunai was thrown towards Cyborg. No one saw it until Naruto quick got in front of Cyborg and grabbed the kunai. Cyborg was sweating bullets. His motion tracker didn't detect the incoming object, it must have been going faster than it could detect. Leave them out of this, Hinata. This is between you and me, no innocence. He said just as he crushed the kunai with his fingers. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I cannot allow anyone to interfere. Innocent or not. She quickly grabbed more kunai from her sleeve and attempted to throw them again. But as quickly as she pulled more kunai out of her dress, Naruto was in her face and attempted a punch. Hinata however leaned back and grabbed Naruto's arm. But Naruto anticipated this and twisted around and flung Hinata to the wall of the tomb. Making a crater where she landed. I need you to step back. You'll only get in the crossfire. But who is she? Asked Robin. His wife. Said Starfire, putting a hand on Robin's shoulder. Naruto was sent flying as Hinata clocked him in the face. She followed up by throwing a couple of kunai in his direction only for Naruto to deflect them. That was a cheap shot, Hinata, just like old times, heh. He smirked, wiping the dribble of blood leaking from the corner of his lip. Indeed, though I don't hit as hard as Tsunade. She could blow a mountain off with her punches if I remember correctly. She's kidding, right? Asked a very nervous Beast Boy cowering behind Cyborg. He did not want to get in between these two right now. Because if there was someone that had strength equal to Superman, then he seriously hoped she was joking. Sadly, however, the look he received from Naruto was the "Chess not joking" look. Seriously? Said Beast Boy, sweating bullets at this point. Cyborg was in the same boat too. He could only imagine someone blowing a mountain away with a single flick of her wrist. That was a scary enough thought on its own. Yeah, Granny always had a bit of a temper. Course, if I was in a dry spell for 40 years, I probably would have been pissed too. As he was saying this, he blocked incoming kunai that Hinata had thrown at him. What? TMI dude, just TMI, said Cyborg, pinching the bridge of his nose. As soon as the silence was broken, Hinata charged forward and spun around, delivering a roundhouse kick to Naruto's temple. Hinata had put enough force into it to knock someone like Mammoth across the other side of the room. But Naruto didn't move an inch. The best that kick did was knock the dust over his shoulder. Her eyes widened a little before she remembered who she was dealing with. Shit, that was close. If I hadn't pulled my shield in time, she would have knocked my head clean off. Naruto narrowed his eyes towards Hinata. He wasn't sure if his eyes were playing tricks, but I almost seemed like she was getting faster. It was getting to the point that he had to use his heightened senses just to see her. The Titans weren't better off either. As of this point, she was nothing but a blur to them. He had to find a way to somehow unbind Hinata from the safeguard, as she put it. But how should he? Was dumb as bricks. Hey Raven. You know any unbinding spells in that head of yours? He shouted mentally to Raven while dodging another kick from Hinata. Wait, you have telepathy? Said Raven, kinda taken aback by this. Yeah, I do. Long story, just listen. I need you to work some of that magic on my old prison. I think whatever put my wife here linked her to the coffin. When I got out, it must have triggered a failsafe, waking her up. I'll keep her busy while you unbind Hinata from this fucking place. I'll try, but if I do this, your wife may not survive. This binding magic may be what's been keeping her alive down here. If I cut off the connection, I know the risks. My wife. She deserves peace. It's the only way. Understood. I'll get to work. The end.
Now watch daily exclusive and censored Lemon stories and mature content, along with NSFW images, featuring harem girls characters from the fics. Access all this and more on my Patreon. Click the link in the description to explore.